Hello, all you freedom-loving people. Welcome to another episode of Front Page. I'm your host, Scott Cameron Goulet. In the last 2 months, Biden's support in the polls has plummeted, adding that Biden's health is a major concern for Democrats. On the other hand, President Trump's team expects President Trump to win the Republican nomination early. But in an unprecedented decision, the Colorado Supreme Court excluded President Trump from the primary ballot so far. Obviously, this legal battle will continue. Finally, dozens of Jeffrey Epstein's high-profile associates will be named for a New Year's surprise. Of the names, many suspect that there will be several politicians, high-profile names, and even Hollywood stars. As Christmas draws nearer and nearer, it's important that you don't fall victim to gift card scams while you're busy preparing for your gifts. Okay, let's get into it. The CNBC All-America Economic Survey that was released on Tuesday found that President Trump leads President Biden by a whopping 5% among Hispanics. The figure is striking because Biden apparently led President Trump by 7 points among Latino voters in a poll that was conducted just 2 months ago. Latino voters had strongly supported Biden in 2020. Now Biden's support among this group of voters has plummeted, sending a new warning signal to Democrats that the party may be at risk of losing the support of this key voting bloc. Latinos have always been one of the major Democratic votes. They are more supportive of the Democratic immigration policies. But in this election cycle, the economy has become a top priority for voters. This may be more favorable to President Trump because people believe that President Trump is more capable of handling the economic issues. The survey also shows that Biden's support among young women and independent voters has also declined. President Trump leads Biden 48% to 42%, extending his lead in October. In addition to a dip in voter approval, President Joe Biden's health situation is causing some tensions on his team. According to Axios, Biden frequently tells friends and aides some rendition of, "I feel so much younger than my age." But senior White House officials and the First Lady herself are reportedly concerned that Biden may be overexerting himself. According to Biden's inner circle, Jill Biden has been keeping a close eye on the president's schedule in order to prevent overwork. She urged the president to get more rest and told her staff to schedule more breaks and steady sleep for her husband. Little by little, we see Biden embracing various measures for his physical health, such as increased rest, orthopedic shoes, and shorter stairs. And he's beginning to make self-deprecating jokes about his age, but he still expresses frustration at the perception that he is too old to be president. In fact, age is not the key factor, but the physical condition and the agility of the brain are more important criteria. Before we move on, I'd like to share something with you that helps improve mental clarity and that I find helpful these days for boosting my energy when I'm a bit under the weather. It's important to me to eat and drink healthy, especially when I have to edit scripts and record in front of a camera every day. I prefer to only consume high-quality products so I don't feel fatigued. I've tried a lot of different products to improve my mental clarity and to boost my energy, especially when I was studying at university. Then recently, I was introduced to Pur Tang's black ginseng. The first time I tried it, we made some tea at the office and we added Pur Tang black ginseng extract. Almost immediately, my coworker mentioned that she felt more energized. This is because Pur Tang black ginseng regulates blood sugar and it increases energy levels. It also benefits brain function, and it's even known for promoting hair growth. So those are 2 reasons for me to drink Pur Tang black ginseng. So to get your Pur Tang black ginseng, you can check the link in the description below. You can also use my promo code SG2023 for free shipping worldwide. And don't forget, the holiday season is right around the corner, so you can make your loved ones happy by giving them healthy gifts. Okay, let's get back into it. The Washington Post reported on December 19th that the Trump campaign assessed, based on data analysis, that President Trump could win the Republican presidential nomination by next March. The report pointed out that a senior director of the Trump campaign team told the media that a combination of internal and external polls assessed that by March 5th of next year, multi-state primaries at the same time on Super Tuesday, President Trump is expected to obtain 973 party delegate votes. By March 19th, the number of party delegates will grow to 1,478 votes. Under the Republican primary rules, the threshold for receiving the Republican nomination as a presidential candidate is 1,215 party delegate votes. The Trump campaign also assessed that President Trump and Biden are facing off again in the 2024 election. The dueling states map will be further expanded. The Trump campaign team director said that in addition to the major swing states that had determined the outcome of victory or defeat in 2016 and 2020, Michigan, New Hampshire, and Virginia, which have traditionally tended to support the Democrats, will become a place of contention for both parties in 2024. Although the advantage is obvious, President Trump suddenly appeared at the Florida Trump private golf club to participate in media briefings. President Trump said that the campaign team will not only take prevent defense election strategy, but it will use their full force of riveting down the victory. But President Trump's path to re-election is also fraught with many challenges. In a shocking and unprecedented decision, the Colorado Supreme Court ruled 4-3 on Tuesday that President Trump is not a qualified candidate for president on the basis of the 14th Amendment. Thus, President Trump may be removed from the state's 2024 presidential ballot. The majority opinion wrote, "We conclude that because President Trump is disqualified from holding the office of president under Section 3, it would be a wrongful act under the election code for the secretary to list President Trump as a candidate on the presidential primary ballot." Rarely have U.S. courts used this constitutional provision to prohibit an official from running for president because of the official's participation in or incitement to a riot or insurrection. Colorado became the first and only state to disqualify President Trump from the state primary. President Trump has announced that he will appeal the ruling. The Colorado Supreme Court stayed its ruling until January 4th, 2024, pending any review by the U.S. Supreme Court. If the U.S. Supreme Court agrees to review the issue by January 4th, the Colorado Secretary of State will be required to continue to include President Trump on the primary ballot. Previously, a lower court ruled that President Trump was eligible to vote and that although he participated in the so-called insurrection on January 6, 2021, the third article of the 14th Amendment does not apply to the president. Steve Chung, a spokesman for the Trump campaign, wrote in a statement that they will appeal the ruling. The statement reads, unsurprisingly, the all-Democrat appointed Colorado Supreme Court has ruled against President Trump. Democrat Party leaders are in a state of paranoia over the growing dominant lead President Trump has amassed in the polls. They have lost faith in the failed Biden presidency and are now doing everything they can to stop the American voters from throwing them out of office next November. The campaign reiterated President Trump's intention to appeal the ruling. They said, "We have full confidence that the U.S. Supreme Court will quickly rule in our favor and finally put an end to these un-American lawsuits." Many Republican lawmakers slammed the Colorado Supreme Court's ruling. They argued that the court should not have disqualified President Trump from the state's primary. They should have left it up to the voters to decide. House Speaker Mike Johnson strongly opposed the ruling, calling it a thinly veiled partisan attack. Johnson wrote on X, "Regardless of political affiliation, every citizen registered to vote should not be denied the right to support our former president and the individual who is the leader in every poll of the Republican primary. We trust the U.S. Supreme Court will set aside this reckless decision and let the American people decide the next president of the United States. House Republican Conference Chairwoman Elise Stefanik similarly criticized the Democratic justice's decision as unprecedented and that it constituted illegal election interference against President Trump that will ultimately help his campaign. Colorado Representative Lauren Boebert called the ruling extreme judicial activism. Boebert wrote on X, "This is extreme judicial activism that is designed to suppress the vote and voices of hundreds of thousands of Coloradans, which is absolutely unacceptable." Senator Marco Rubio argues that the Colorado Supreme Court has violated the interests of the United States. The U.S. government has sanctioned other countries for doing exactly what the Colorado Supreme Court has done today. Florida Representative Matt Gaetz noted the American people will decide their next president, not activist judges in Colorado. Even Representative Chip Roy of Texas, who was attacked by President Trump on Monday, opposed the ruling. Roy retweeted and endorsed a post by Senator Mike Lee that reads, "This lawless, cynical ruling by the Colorado Supreme Court will not stand." Roy wrote, "Agree." Independent presidential candidate Robert Kennedy Jr. has also criticized the decision. He said in a post on X, "Trump blocked from the ballot in Colorado. When a court in another country disqualifies an opposition candidate from running, we say that's not a real democracy. Now it's happening here." Finally, dozens of Jeffrey Epstein's high-profile associates will be named for a New Year's surprise. Epstein's associates will be identified in a batch of court documents that are likely to be made public on January 2nd. On Monday, Judge Loretta Preska wrote "unsealed" in full next to the names of 177 people who are Epstein's friends, recruiters, victims, and others. The documents are related to a defamation case which was brought by Virginia Roberts. Roberts was the accuser of Prince Andrew and Ghislaine Maxwell. Roberts sued Maxwell for defamation in 2016, and while the case was settled, the Primary Herald sued in order to make the documents public. It was the Miami Herald that published a bombshell expose of Jeffrey Epstein, which led to his arrest in 2019. Judge Preska gave the unsealed designation on the list, giving them 14 days to object to their names being made public. If not, then their names will be released on January 2nd. The documents will include information about one of Prince Andrew's accusers who alleged that Prince Andrew assaulted her at Epstein's New York residence. There will also be material about Haley Robson. Previously, Robson was named as a recruiter in police files of Epstein's original investigation in 2006. However, she recently claimed that she was a victim too. Some of the upcoming documents will relate to Jean-Luc Brunel. Brunel was a French model agent who was close to Epstein and who allegedly abused many young women. Brunel hanged himself in a Paris prison cell in 2022 while awaiting trial on sex charges. From the unsealed names, numbers 3 and 4 appear to be Miles and Kathy Alexander. The Alexanders are a South African couple who managed Epstein's private island for years. The batch of documents will also include those related to Annie Farmer. Farmer was one of the women who testified at Maxwell's trial. Another unsealed name is Carolyn Adriano. Adriano, who testified at Maxwell's trial, was recruited at the age of 14. Sadly, she was repeatedly raped by Epstein. Adriano died earlier this year from an overdose in a hotel room in Florida. Adriano allegedly first encountered Prince Andrew at Epstein's mansion in New York in 2007. In a deposition, Adriano recalled that she returned to the Grand Home after some sightseeing. She mentioned that Prince Andrew was there and a couple of other girls my age. Perhaps the most alarming victim name is Johanna Soberg. She was a Swedish swimmer. She alleges being recruited by Maxwell and assaulted by Epstein. The only one on the list who is identified directly by his name so far is Harvard law professor Alan Dershowitz. Surprisingly, Dershowitz has publicly called for all his material to be made public. In previously published documents in the case, Virginia Roberts named other powerful men whom she alleges that she had sex with. They include former New Mexico Governor Bill Richardson, who died in September. Other names include wealthy financier Glenn Dubin, the now deceased MIT scientist Marvin Minsky. There was also another prince, a foreign president, and a well-known prime minister. And there was also the owner of a large hotel chain in France. Judge Preska also ruled that there are 10 victims whose names will not be made public because they are minor victims, whose names have not been publicly revealed before. Of the 177 names, many suspect that there will be several politicians, high-profile names, and even Hollywood stars. With the Christmas holiday and the New Year's approaching, it's also time when criminals are stepping up their efforts to swindle people out of their money. And the U.S. police are urging consumers to be vigilant about gift card scams, where scammers can make their purchases worthless by tampering with the gift cards. On Monday, victim Susan Goulet spoke about her experience on Fox News. Goulet, who lives in Colorado, purchased a $200 Target gift card for her friend's daughter, but the card's information had been stolen. She gave the card to her friend's daughter, and when her friend's daughter went to the Target register to check out, she was told that the balance on her card is zero. And she was also told that the gift card had been assigned to another person's account. Goulet then approached the store manager, and the manager told her it was a scam. The back of that gift card of hers was exposed, and they could easily access the information on the back of the card. She said there was a silver lining on there. That protective security code had been scratched off, numbers were taken when they took that gift card out of the store. Then they expertly put back on that silver lining. Goulet happened to buy the card, but the scammers had already taken all the information about the card. As soon as Goulet reloaded the card, the scammers stole the money, and then they closed the card before the real consumer could use it. The Better Business Bureau, the BBB, has revealed that the number of people reporting gift card fraud has increased by 50% this year compared to last year. Barry Dugan, a patrol officer with the Pinole Police Department in California, warns that there is another method that thieves use to steal card numbers. Someone steals a gift card from a store without paying for it or reloading it. He carefully removes the card and then cuts off the top of the card. The crook keeps the part of the card that contains the code, and he puts the bottom back into the envelope. Then he re-glues it back on, and he waits for the victim to take the bait. According to technology reporter Kurt Knutson, there are other ways that scammers try to get money, such as posing as a friend or relative and asking for a shopping card. This makes the victim believe that the friend or relative is in desperate need of money. Fraudsters also try to sell gift cards at a discounted price in exchange for money or other gifts, or they exchange it in cyber fraud. This is where fraudsters pose as retailers, and they ask consumers to pay with gift cards. They force them to hand over the information. During the festive season, apart from taking care, please do not fall for these scams. After a busy year at work, these holidays are a rare time to gather with family and friends. The gathering is a very exciting and a time that we can show each other how much we care and how much we mean to each other. And that's a wrap for this episode. Thank you so much for your support of Front Page. Please remember that every like, comment, and share helps more people to see the truth. If you haven't already, please subscribe. And if you have already subscribed, we thank you, but please double check to make sure that you're still subscribed, because some of our audience have reported that they're somehow unsubscribed without their knowledge. We've also heard that many of you don't get notifications for our videos anymore on YouTube. So when you do subscribe on YouTube, please make sure to tap the notification bell as well. Okay, this is our show for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you like what you heard today, please don't forget to like this video and share it with your friends and family, because everybody deserves to know the truth. Again, thank you for watching Front Page, and we will see you next time.